A single piece of cloth, no paint, no brush strokes, yet it bears the haunting image of a man, crucified. Every wound, every bloodstain, perfectly preserved. For centuries, it has defied science. It has survived fire, war, and relentless attempts to uncover its secret. Every test only deepens the mystery. No one knows where it came from, who created it, or how a single image could haunt history like this. And here's the part that chills the world. Even today, with all our modern technology, no one can replicate it. Could this be a divine artifact? Or the greatest enigma ever woven by human hands? If this cloth is what people believe, where did it come from? To find the answer, we have to turn back the clock. Almost 700 years. Origins and early appearances. The year is 1354, a quiet town in France called Liry. Inside a small church, a knight named Geoffroy de Charny unveils something that will spark centuries of obsession. A linen cloth, bearing the faint image of a man, beaten, bloodied, and crucified. Whispers spread like wildfire. Some call it the burial shroud of Jesus Christ. Pilgrims pour in from across Europe. Some fall to their knees in prayer. Others stand frozen, staring at an image they cannot explain. Yet before this moment, the cloth didn't exist in history. No records, no origin. And the church? Silent, neither claiming it nor condemning it. But some believe this shroud is far older. They link it to a relic long lost, the image of Edessa, the Mandelion, a sacred cloth said to hold the face of Christ himself, a relic that disappeared during the chaos of the Crusades. Could the Shroud of Turin and the Mandelion be one and the same? And if so, where was it hidden for all those years? The crucifixion context, gospel account versus shroud evidence. The shroud appeared in France without a clear history. Some say it was hidden for centuries, waiting to be revealed. But to understand why millions believe this cloth could be Jesus' actual burial shroud, we must travel further back. Back to the time of Jesus. Back to the story told in the Gospels. Jesus was arrested, beaten mercilessly, sentenced to die by crucifixion, a cruel, public execution perfected by the Romans. He was whipped, deep lacerations across his back, forced to carry a heavy wooden cross through the streets, nailed through his hands and feet. Hours later, he breathed his last. His followers moved quickly. The Sabbath was near. They took his broken body down, wrapped it carefully in a clean linen cloth, laid him in a nearby tomb. When we look at the Shroud of Turin, the image on it shows signs that match this story. Clear marks across the back from a Roman whip, blood stains on the wrists and feet, where nails would have pierced flesh, a wound on the right side of the chest, bleeding as if from a spear, blood on the forehead and scalp, consistent with a crown of thorns. Scientific tests confirm the blood is type AB. Still common in the Middle East today, the way the body is positioned on the cloth, perfectly aligned with what we know about Roman crucifixion. The evidence is impossible to ignore. The details are haunting. Could this be the cloth that wrapped the man who changed history forever? Scientific investigations in the 1988 carbon dating controversy. For centuries, the Shroud of Turin has stood at the center of faith and doubt. To millions, it feels like proof of something beyond this world. But science wanted answers. In the late 1970s, a team of more than 30 experts came together with a single mission: to uncover the truth. They called themselves the Shroud of Turin Research Project, STURP. They examined everything: the blood, the fibers, the image burned into the cloth. What they discovered left them stunned. The image wasn't painted, no brush strokes, no pigments. The blood, real, human blood. The details? Uncanny, perfectly aligned with an actual human body. But one question haunted every lab, every test. How did the image get there? Then came 1988, the test that would shake the world. 3 elite laboratories, Oxford, Zurich, and Tucson, took samples from the cloth. They ran carbon dating, and when the results came back, the headlines exploded. The shroud, they claimed, wasn't from the time of Jesus. It dated to 1260 to 1390, the Middle Ages. A forgery, the world was told. Faith collapsed. Doubt surged. But the story wasn't over. Critics pushed back. They argued the samples were taken from a corner, a patch believed to have been repaired during the Middle Ages. And then there was the fire. In 1532, the shroud barely survived a devastating blaze. Scorch marks and water stains scarred the cloth forever. Experts warned that the heat and smoke from that inferno could have altered the fabric's chemistry, corrupting the carbon dating results. And then came the twist: new tests, new methods, findings that suggest the cloth could be far older than those 1988 dates. So what is the truth? A medieval masterpiece of deception? Or a relic that has defied fire, time, and science itself? The debate is far from over. The image, formation theories and mysteries. Now we reach the heart of the enigma, the detail that has obsessed scientists for decades, the image itself. At first glance, it seems simple, a faded outline of a man's body on old linen. But the closer you look, the stranger it gets. In 1898, something extraordinary happened. The first photographs of the shroud were taken. And when the negatives developed, a shocking revelation appeared. The image wasn't faint. It was vivid, clear, like a perfect portrait of a man who had been beaten, scourged, and crucified. Eyes, nose, beard, every feature staring back through the centuries. And there's more. The image holds three-dimensional information, as if the cloth captured not just a face, but depth, like a 3D scan burned into the fibers. No painting in history can do this. And here's the most astonishing part. The image lies only on the very surface, the top 1 or 2 microns of each linen thread. That's thinner than a human hair. No pigments, no dyes, no brush strokes. So how did it appear? That question has ignited fierce debate. Some scientists, like Walter McCrone, insisted it was painted. But how do you paint with no brush strokes? How do you create an image that penetrates less than a fiber's thickness? Others suggested a chemical process, the Maillard reaction, the same reaction that browns bread in an oven. But that theory collapses when faced with the shroud's photographic and 3D qualities. And then came the boldest theory of all, a sudden burst of radiant energy. A flash so intense, it scorched the image in an instant. Italian physicist Paolo di Lazzaro tested the idea with high-powered lasers. And he proved something incredible. A laser burst lasting a few billionths of a second could produce an image almost like the shroud. Almost. But here's the catch. To cover the entire cloth, it would require an energy surge beyond anything humanity has ever produced, even today. And that's what makes this so haunting. With all our science, all our technology, we still can't replicate it. Not even close. And that is why the mystery refuses to die. Forensic and botanical evidence. Now let's look at the physical clues, the details hidden in the fibers of the shroud. Forensic tests confirm it. The blood is real, human blood. It even contains serum albumin, a protein found in fresh wounds. And the injuries? They match Roman crucifixion, lash marks across the back, shoulders torn from carrying a beam, nails through wrists and feet, a spear wound in the side. But the trail doesn't stop with blood. Botanists discovered pollen trapped in the cloth, pollen from plants found only around Jerusalem and the Dead Sea. Then came something even stranger: faint outlines of flowers, species that bloom in Israel during March and April, the time of Passover and Easter. And under the microscope? Dust. Tiny particles of aragonite, the same mineral found in Jerusalem's ancient tombs. Blood, pollen, flowers, stone dust. They don't point to a medieval workshop. They point to one place, one time: ancient Palestine in the 1st century. The Shroud through history, from Lyre to Turin. Now let's follow the Shroud's long, perilous journey through time. Its first confirmed appearance? The 1350s, a small church in Lyre, France. A mysterious cloth goes on display. Crowds gather, whispers spread. Could this be the burial shroud of Christ? Then, disaster. 1532. A devastating fire tears through a chapel in Chambéry. The silver reliquary holding the shroud melts, searing holes through the fabric. Those burn marks still scar the cloth today. After the fire, the Poor Clare nuns worked carefully, sewing patches to repair the damage. Some believe those patches may have mixed new threads with old ones, altering the results of future scientific tests, including the carbon dating of 1988. In 1578, the shroud was moved to Turin, Italy, under the protection of the powerful House of Savoy. It has remained there ever since. Centuries passed. The shroud was shown only on rare occasions: 1931, 1978, 2000, 2015. Each time, millions came: pilgrims, skeptics, scientists, all drawn by the same haunting image. In 1983, ownership passed to the Vatican, but the Church has never declared it real or fake. It simply invites the world to look and decide for themselves. Faith, symbolism, and controversy. For millions of Christians, the Shroud of Turin is more than fabric. It's a sacred symbol of suffering, death, and resurrection, a silent witness to the Passion of Christ. Every Easter, believers look upon its image and feel the weight of history and the depth of faith. But not everyone agrees. Skeptics say it's a clever medieval creation. They point out no mention in the earliest Christian texts and the sudden appearance of the shroud during a time when religious relics flooded Europe. To them, its timing feels too perfect, too convenient. Yet modern science still grapples with the truth. Imaging experts, chemists, physicists, none can fully replicate the shroud's image. Its photographic negative, its astonishing anatomical detail, its mysterious three-dimensional qualities. The more we learn, the deeper the puzzle becomes. So what is it? A medieval masterpiece that fooled the world? Or a divine mystery science cannot yet explain? The answer may lie beyond our reach. If this journey challenged what you thought you knew and opened new doors to history and faith, subscribe now. History was wild, and we've got the receipts, people. Oh yeah, the past must be crazy.